Hi everybody. This week in Module 5, we're going to be working with watercolor. You're all going to receive a pan of watercolors. It looks different than this, but similar. You'll also get a paintbrush. It's really important that if you especially are working at school, that you make sure that anything that you have done in this pan, that you dry out before you close it up to put it back in your book bag. Otherwise, you could end up spilling and making a paint mess inside of your book bag. But as long as you kind of pat it with paper towels and dry it out, it won't be a problem. Another thing about doing watercolors this week, again, this kind of more pertains to if you are in class, you want to make sure that you're following all of our classroom guidelines regarding where we want you to store your wet paintings. Some of the watercolors you do in class are going to dry up really fast. But if it's still wet towards the end of class, we have a drying rack that we're going to ask you to put that on, and we will give it back to you the next day. If you're at home, you can just set it out until it dries, and it really doesn't take too long to dry. As far as the water that you need to wet the watercolors, in class, Ms. Braun and I will provide cups of water for you at your tables. And if you're at home, just use whatever cup you have laying around and fill it up with water. That's all you need. Okay, so there are 3 parts to this module. The first part is just experimenting with different watercolor painting techniques. And I realized that I'm actually starting this on the wrong slide, so I'm going to go back here. This is your first slide. Here we go. So watercoloring techniques, and Miss Braun goes over these. This is like, it's like magic when she works with watercolor. This is your best teacher here. And for that, you're going to need your watercolor pan. And we say watercolor pan, we're talking about like the set of watercolor paints. Your paintbrush, the cup of water, and watercolor paper. That's really important. Make sure that you are using the heaviest, thickest paper that we gave you in that packet of papers. It's the one that's really hard to bend. You'll need a paper towel to help rinse off your paintbrush and also to clean up your mess afterwards. You will need a pencil/pen and a ruler for kind of setting up your grid for this exercise. So once you have completed this exercise, you will move on to creating your own original watercolor that is non-objective. Non-objective just means it doesn't look like anything. It's like purely abstract. So you'll need, again, your watercolor set, paintbrush, some watercolor paper, all the same things needed the last time. The optional ruler is for if you see like what is on the screen right here. If your design is going to be really geometric, that's when you'll want the ruler. All right, the painting that you did in the second activity is what you're going to need to complete your third activity. And this is how we're going to actually end up taking your painting, your non-objective painting, and creating a cool digital desktop wallpaper for your Chromebooks. So you're going to need your non-objective watercoloring from the second activity. You're going to need your Chromebook because this is all happening digitally. If you were with us during the lockdown last year, 8th graders, then you should feel fairly familiar with Canva. Canva is the name of the application we're using. Canvas is the name of your digital classroom. That might be a little confusing. Try to keep them straightened out. Canva, digital art, Canvas, digital classroom. All right, so I do want to point out on the left side of the screen here, right here, it says your wallpaper design must include your non-objective painting, a quote, and an element that emphasizes your quote. That's basically like a shape. And it explains in that video step by step how to do those things. This video also goes over how to split screen, so that way you can maybe have your instructions going on half of your screen while you're also working Canva on the other half of your screen. That could be helpful. So that is it. Once you're all done, you're going to submit a picture of the first activity you did with the watercolor techniques. Then you're going to submit a picture of your actual watercolor painting that you did in the second activity, which could be the same picture you used when you were creating this third activity. And the third thing you will submit for the assignment is actually a screenshot of your final design as your wallpaper on your Chromebook. And it goes through the video how to do all those things. If you have any questions, please make sure that you let Miss Braun or I know. Happy arting!